He Street was unusually quiet that night. A thin mist hung in the air, glowing faintly under the dim yellow streetlights. At the end of the block stood a small restaurant with faded red bricks, a chipped wooden sign that read, Mama's Kitchen, and a door that squeaked whenever it opened. Inside, Marcus cleaned the counter for the third time, even though it didn't need cleaning. He wasn't trying to make it shine, he was trying to silence the thoughts in his head. The bills piled up on the shelf in his office. The landlord had given him one last warning. And when he looked around at the empty tables, the only sound he heard was the clock ticking on the wall, each second reminding him that time was running out. Marcus had grown up poor, the son of a single mother who worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. His mother had taught him that even when you have little, you share. She used to say, Marcus, kindness costs nothing, but it buys more than money ever could. After she passed away, Marcus opened Mama's Kitchen in her honor. He didn't care about becoming rich. He just wanted a place where people felt loved, fed, and welcomed. But dreams don't pay rent. And lately, it seemed like no one believed in his dream but him. As Marcus moved to lock the front door, he noticed something, a shadow by the window. He squinted through the glass. An old man stood outside, hunched, shivering, wearing layers of mismatched clothes that looked like they had been dug out of dumpsters. His hands clutched a torn bag, and his face was hollow, tired, the face of someone the world had long forgotten. Marcus's first instinct was practical. It's late. I can't afford to give food away. But then another thought followed. If Mama were here, what would she do? He opened the door. Evening, sir, Marcus said, his voice gentle. You hungry? The man's lips trembled. He shook his head slowly. Don't have money. You don't need money tonight, Marcus replied, holding the door open wider. Come on in. Inside, Marcus led him to a booth by the window. The man's eyes darted around nervously, as if expecting to be thrown out at any moment. Marcus disappeared into the kitchen and returned with a plate, fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread, and a bowl of steaming soup. The man stared at it for a long time before whispering, "This smells like home." He ate slowly at first, almost reverently, then hungrily, as if afraid the food might vanish if he didn't finish quickly. Tears rolled down his cheeks. Marcus sat across from him. "What's your name, sir?" "Henry," the man said between bites. "Haven't heard anyone ask me that in a long time." They talked for nearly an hour. Henry told fragments of his story, how he'd lost his wife, how grief had broken him, how he'd walked away from the life he once knew. Most people on the street saw only a dirty, broken man. But Marcus listened. And for Henry, that alone was more nourishing than the food. When Henry finally stood to leave, he whispered, "Thank you. You don't know what this means." Marcus smiled. "Just promise me one thing. Whenever you get back on your feet, pass it on. Help the next person." Henry nodded, then disappeared into the night. The following week was brutal for Marcus. Only a handful of customers came through the doors. The gas company threatened to cut him off. His bank account was nearly empty. Some nights, Marcus wondered if it was time to give up. He considered selling the place, finding another job, and burying his dream with it. But then he remembered the look on Henry's face when he ate that meal. That reminder kept Marcus going. Then one afternoon, something strange happened. A line of black cars pulled up outside the restaurant. Out stepped men in suits, followed by an older gentleman who walked with authority. It was Henry. But he didn't look like the same man. His hair was trimmed, his beard neat, his clothes sharp. He walked up to Marcus, who nearly dropped the tray in his hands. "Marcus," Henry said warmly, "I owe you an explanation. That night, you fed me when no one else would. You saw me when the world looked away. But what you didn't know is that I wasn't always a beggar. I am Henry Collins, retired businessman, investor, and, once, very wealthy. I lost myself after my wife died. I wandered the streets, broken. I wanted to know if kindness still existed. That night, you gave me the answer." Marcus stared, speechless. Henry continued. "I've been watching your restaurant. I see your heart. And I want to help you, because the world needs more places like this." Within weeks, Henry invested in Mama's Kitchen. He hired staff, renovated the dining area, and brought in connections that Marcus could only dream of. Soon, the restaurant wasn't empty anymore. People lined up outside, not just for the food but for the story, about the poor black restaurant owner who had shown kindness to a homeless man, and how that act of compassion changed everything. But Marcus didn't stop there. He could have kept the success for himself, but he remembered his mother's words. He started a program. Every Sunday, the restaurant fed the homeless free of charge. He opened his doors to the forgotten, the hungry, the lonely. The community, once skeptical, rallied behind him. Young people from the neighborhood found jobs in his kitchen. Families who had once struggled now found hope. The restaurant became more than a place to eat, it became a beacon of compassion. And Henry? He wasn't just an investor. He became Marcus's mentor, father figure, and closest friend. Together, they expanded Mama's Kitchen into multiple locations, each one carrying the same tradition: no one leaves hungry. One evening, Marcus stood outside the restaurant, watching the lights glow and hearing the laughter of families inside. Tears welled in his eyes as he whispered, "Mama, we did it. Your kitchen is feeding the world now." And that's the truth this story leaves us with: kindness doesn't die in empty pockets or fade with hardship. True kindness, even in the smallest act, a plate of food, a seat at a table, a listening ear, can ripple outward and change lives in ways we could never imagine. Marcus had given when he had little. And in return, life gave him more than he ever dreamed. Because sometimes, the richest blessings begin with the poorest hearts.